Hello, I'm David Rose, and here's a look at some of the top cases featured this weekend on Washington's Most Wanted in partnership with Crime Stoppers. Starting with the search for an accused child molester. Renton police need your help tonight to find Carlos Leyva. Detectives say the 57-year-old admitted to molesting an 8-year-old girl and to putting a mirror on the ground under the bathroom door multiple times to spy on her when she was showering. Now, during the interview, police say he told them he knew what he did was wrong and he has forgiven himself. Well, he disappeared soon after detectives talked with him.
He was pretty involved in the community up until that point, and once he gave the confession, we have not been able to locate him anyplace at all. We've used a number of federal and local resources to try to find him, and he's obviously trying to hide.
Leyva is charged with 2 counts of child molestation in the first degree. One big concern for law enforcement is that Leyva owns his own painting company, which could give him access to the homes of clients where kids are homeschooling right now. He is 5 feet 6 inches tall, 165 pounds. Leyva has family in King and Snohomish County, as well as ties to Mexico. He sold his car, so police don't know what he's driving right now. Officers think he could be getting help to hide from friends or people in his church. If you can tell Renton police where to find Carlos Leyva, submit an anonymous tip right now to Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound. Use the P3 Tips app on your cell phone or call 1-800-222-TIPS. You'll be paid a cash reward of up to $1,000 if the information leads to his arrest. Now to Kitsap County, where the search is on for the final suspect wanted after almost 100 guns were stolen from a store. Take a look at Anthony Barajas-Robledo. The 19-year-old is wanted for burglary first degree, unlawful possession of a firearm first degree, and theft of firearms. Detectives say he and 2 other men who have already been arrested broke into Borner's Firearms in April of 2019. Robledo made arrangements earlier this month to surrender, but he was a no-show.
We've recovered about half of the guns that were stolen. We'd like to find this guy and get him off the road and maybe get some cooperation to recover the remaining missing firearms and get them off the road. We want to wrap this up. This has been open way too long, and now that we know who this person is, we want to put a bow on this one.
Deputies say Robledo should be considered armed and dangerous. He's likely in the Pierce or King County area. He's 5'10", 120 pounds. Crime Stoppers will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000 if you can tell Kitsap County Sheriff's deputies where to find him. You will remain anonymous. Text the information through the P3 Tips app or call 1-800-222-TIPS. What began as a theft case quickly escalated into an assault and a drive-by shooting at a smoke shop in Des Moines. Tonight, detectives are hoping that you can identify the 2 suspects. Now, this all started when the store owner confronted a suspect for shoplifting on November 18th. The second time he'd seen the same guy do it. A struggle ensued and the suspect's shirt was pulled off. Well, he left the store on Pacific Highway South to go get his buddies. An outside camera shows he was with 3 other men. Well, he tells them what happened, and then they all head back towards the door. The suspect comes in, and he points a handgun at the owner, racking the slide. And he says something like, "Oh, you're scared now." But this gives you a great look at him. And when he turns, you see he has a distinctive tattoo on his upper back and left shoulder. Detectives say the suspect in the Mariner's jacket who followed him also threatened the owner with his hand in his pocket, kind of gesturing like he had a gun, but none was seen. Now, the 2 suspects left. They all got into a dark-colored Nissan Pathfinder. And as they drove off north on Pacific Highway South, you see the door open, and then the muzzles start flashing as they fire multiple rounds into the business and the vehicles in the parking lot. Fortunately, nobody was hit, but their reckless behavior has detectives very concerned for everyone's safety. So if you know who this guy is with his shirt ripped off, or you can identify the other suspect, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. You can text the information and any photos you have through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone or call the hotline. It is anonymous. You'll never be asked to give your name. Now, a store clerk violently attacked, pistol whipped, and left bleeding and in pain. Tonight, Seattle police need your help to identify these 2 young men wanted for robbery. This surveillance image shows the suspects outside a mom-and-pop market in the Magnolia neighborhood on Sunday, December 6th, around 6:15 p.m. They'd gotten into a verbal altercation with the clerk about buying cigarettes. Both looked younger than 21. Well, she got scared, pulled out her cell phone, and directed them to leave the store. A short time afterwards, she went back inside, and they returned. The suspect in the Seattle Mariners hat approached the counter, pointed a handgun at her, and demanded the cash from the register and her purse.
The robbery's over. There's nothing else to do except leave. Oh no. Suspect number one in the Mariner hat takes his weapon and pistol whips this victim almost unconscious. It was amazing how much blood was everywhere, and he just beats her for no reason. Then he leaves.
The victim suffered multiple significant lacerations and had to be taken to the hospital. But did these vicious, selfish, useless jackwagons who attacked an innocent woman care?
A witness was contacted down the street and said that she saw him and this other guy walking, and the one that actually did the pistol whipping is laughing and looking back over his shoulder like, look what I just did. Well, I want to tell you what, we're going to catch you. There's a lot of people out here that know who you are. You're going to be the next capture on Washington's Most Wanted.
So that brings us back to that first picture I showed you, where you see that suspect's face clear as day. Detectives say he's black, 18 to 20 years old, 6 feet tall and thin. The second suspect is also black, 18 to 20, 5'10 to 6 feet tall, with a medium build, gray puffy jacket, wearing that Seattle Mariners blue baseball cap with yellow on the brim, and armed with a black handgun. If you can identify either of these robbery suspects, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. It's anonymous. Call 1-800-222-TIPS or text the information and any photos you have of them through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone or at p3tips.com. So they think what they did is funny? Let's see who has the last laugh. You hear it all the time, wear your mask. But fortunately, these two robbery suspects wanted by Puyallup police did not pay attention to that advice because you can see their faces.
Of course, with COVID restrictions, wearing a mask is not as odd as it used to be.
After they donned their masks, they entered Kirk's Pharmacy at the corner of South Meridian and 7th Avenue Southwest at 11 a.m. on December 5th and showed their true evil in their hearts during this takeover-style robbery.
They tied up the 3 employees in the business and then fled the area. The employees were unharmed and were able to release themselves or get themselves untied and contact police.
Everybody thankfully was unharmed physically. The emotional trauma, we'll see how well they recovered. They were pretty shaken up.
You can see the suspects didn't even rush out of the store. They just nonchalantly walked out with the stolen narcotics in the shopping bag they brought with them. Puyallup police say they took off in this sedan. It's possibly a 2000 Nissan Sentra. It was parked about a block from the pharmacy. Detectives say the suspect wearing the hat and the American flag mask is black, about 5 feet 10 inches tall, in his mid-20s. The guy carrying the shopping bag is described as Hispanic, about 6 feet tall, and in his late 30s.
Luckily, they took their mask off when they got out, and we were able to capture some good video of them. We consider these folks dangerous. We'd like to have them in custody as soon as possible. Somebody probably knows something about them from the video, from the vehicle.
So if you recognize them or you know anything that can help Puyallup police identify either suspect, you can remain anonymous when you submit a tip to Crime Stoppers through the P3 Tips app. You can download it to your cell phone for free, or you can call 1-800-222-TIPS. It's anonymous, and you'll get a cash reward of up to $1,000 if your tip leads to the arrest of either suspect. Well, the words "Love is Pain" inked on his neck and "West Side" tattooed on his forearms are easy ways to help you spot this convicted felon wanted in King County. It's been almost a year since Justin Wold was arrested by deputies on the Muckleshoot Reservation on his warrants for possession of a stolen vehicle in King County, assault in Seattle, and first-degree domestic violence trespass in Auburn. And more charges got added after deputies searched him.
They find he has a pocket full of heroin, a meth pipe, and a domestic violence no contact order with a woman who's just a few yards away. We're always concerned when we have someone that we know is involved in auto theft, narcotics, and is violating court orders. He's someone who seems to make his own rules. We need to get him in custody.
Justin Wold is 31 years old, and while his tattoos say West Side, detectives say it's the north side of Seattle and the south side of King County where he's usually staying. So if you know where to find him, you're going to get a cash reward of up to $1,000 when you submit that information to Crime Stoppers. It's anonymous. Call 1-800-222-TIPS or send it through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. Well, thanks to you, a pair of suspects wanted in an extremely vicious attack on an innocent victim waiting for the bus have been identified and arrested. Take a look at the surveillance video from a bus stop in the 3700 block of Rainier Avenue South in Seattle on March 6th. That's the victim looking at his phone. Now watch as the first suspect eases up behind him before exploding into violence, blindsiding the victim, knocking him to the ground, and then brutally beating him, all to steal his phone. Seattle police say they identified that man as 23-year-old Anthony Noah. And the other suspect, who sat at the bench at the bus stop, got up to keep people from helping the victim and stole his phone, is 29-year-old Dalen Tharp. Detectives say Tharp was identified thanks to Washington's Most Wanted viewers who watched the show in March.
So I'm very happy to say that one of the first tips that came in actually named a suspect of interest. The robbery investigators followed up. Based on that tip, they made an arrest and made a charge. The subsequent investigation after that also proved valuable, and it's all based on tips that came in from that show. So we've arrested and charged both suspects in this street robbery. So thank you for watching the show.
This is how the victim Xander looked the day after he was ambushed and beaten to a pulp. He couldn't work for a week, and he's lucky his injuries weren't even worse.
Broken nose, this whole half of my face was all swollen up, and 2 chipped teeth. They x-rayed me and gave me a CAT scan, and they said nothing was out of place or anything.
Anthony Noah is charged with 2 counts of first-degree robbery. His next court hearing is January 14th. Dalen Tharp was found guilty in September of 2 counts of first-degree theft and 1 count of third-degree assault. He's set to be sentenced on January 8th. Tharp's arrest brings the total number of fugitives you have helped catch to 1,190. So those are some of the cases that we need your help to solve this weekend. So I hope you'll join me for the full show. Washington's Most Wanted airing tonight at 11 o'clock on Q13 Fox. It also airs tomorrow night at 10 on Joe TV and 10:30 p.m. on Fox TV stations in Spokane, Yakima, and the Tri-Cities. Have a great weekend, but join me to make sure these criminals have nowhere left to hide.